everybody, I'm back again with another recipe. This morning we're just going to make some really simple French toast. I think this is a really good time to perhaps teach our kids some recipes and how simple it is to create something really delicious for breakfast. So I'm going to do two types of French toast because I have two children at home, one who loves sweet food and one who loves savoury food. So I'm going to do a savoury version and a sweet version. So first of all, I'm going to talk you through the ingredients and you'll be amazed at how few there is. So we've got eggs, and I usually try and aim for 1 egg per person. We've got some milk, and then I've got some vanilla. That's optional. You don't have to add vanilla if you don't have any. And then for the savoury, I'll add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And then I've got here some bread. So yesterday I made some bread rolls and I left them too long to prove, and you can see by the big holes in it, and then I baked it for too long in the oven. So it wasn't going to be the nicest roll to eat, but it'll be the nicest roll to have in French toast, and it's a great recipe for using up stale bread or bread that's gone past it a little bit. So let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to break 2 eggs into each of these dishes. It doesn't really matter what you use as long as it is big enough to hold a full slice of bread. So I've done 2 eggs into my sweet and then 2 eggs into my savoury. Now at this time where people are panic buying, we're ending up not able to get all the ingredients we would like. So farm shops are really good for things like eggs, or if you know anybody who's got chickens. I'm just going to add a teaspoon of vanilla to the sweet mixture. And the great thing about vanilla is it kind of tricks the brain into thinking you're having sugar, so it's really, really great. People who wore a vanilla perfume ate less sweet food, they did in a study. And then I'm just going to add 2 tablespoons, so it's a tablespoon per egg of normal milk into this one, but in my other one I'm going to use some almond milk. I don't have dairy because it just doesn't agree with me, and also a lot of people have been buying these alternative milks at the moment because they're longer life and they can keep them on the shelves. So in this one I'm going to do a pinch of salt and a little grind of black pepper. So that's both of our mixtures ready. Whisk them up. So you're just breaking up the yolks and the whites and mixing it in with the milk. So that's the savoury one, and then I'm mixing up the sweet one. And I've got my frying pan beside me ready to go. Now if your bread was really stale, you might want to soak it longer. You might want to soak it for, look at that, I used the same knife I used to cut an avocado, so I've got green bread. So you might want to soak it for a bit longer. If I've got very stale bread, I soak it overnight. So I just make this up, cover it in cling film, and then the next morning I have got French toast ready to go. So I'm just popping in some pieces to soak. I'm quite happy using my hands, but some people are a little bit squeamish and they might want to use some tongs or a fork. So I'm just pressing it down into the milk, and then I'll turn them all over so I can get a nice coating on both sides. There we go. One of the first things I taught my children to do in the kitchen was to cook eggs. So we started with a boiled egg and they timed it, and then we did a scrambled egg, and then we moved on to French toast, and eventually we used our eggs to make pancakes. So it's quite nice because it is something that they will want to eat. Oh, I used to have a cloth behind me, but I don't anymore. I'm just going to go and wash my hands. Okay, so now we're going to cook our French toast. So I'm going to put a little knob of butter into my pan. I like to cook it in butter because I think it's really tasty. Be careful not to have your pan too hot or you could burn the butter. You'll know your butter's burnt when it goes really, really dark brown. But if it goes a little bit brown, then it's quite nice. It's called beurre noisette and it's quite a nutty flavour. Okay, so I'm going to start by cooking the sweet French toast first. I'm just going to pop it in the pan. There we go. In it goes. In went the green bit. See how much I can fit in. And as you can see, the egg's already cooking. I'm just going to put the rest of my pieces in, ready to go. And I'm going to have a little peek and see if it's ready to turn. You can see how quick this recipe is. It's not quite ready yet. And as you can see, I'm using a camping stove. It's just easier than moving around, but it's a good recipe that we've used camping before. So I'm just going to give it a few minutes on one side. And we can have a little think about toppings. So my son would love it if he was just allowed sugar on his French toast, but I'm afraid I make him have different toppings so that it's a little bit healthier. Eggs are a fantastic source of nutrition. They're a complete protein and they are absolutely full of really good vitamins and minerals. So I'm just turning over my French toast so you can see it's gone a little bit brown on one side. And we're getting there, nearly ready to go. So what I've got to put on top of my sweet French toast is I've got some raspberries, I've got some yogurt. I try to use live yogurt because it is really good for our guts, and we're knowing more and more and more about how important our guts are in terms of lots of things, how well we are and also how we feel. So I've got some really nice creamy live yogurt here, so I'm just going to get that ready. So I think we're ready to plate up. So I've got my spatula here. I'm just going to have a little check. Yep, it's nice and brown underneath. And I'm going to put a couple of pieces onto the plate. I think 4 because they're not very big. And I've got quite a big boy at home. And then I'm going to put a big dollop of live yogurt. I'm going to sprinkle it with some raspberries. And then I'm going to drizzle it with a little bit of maple syrup. You can use honey, you could use a teaspoon of sugar, whatever it is you've got. So there we go, that's our sweet French toast. So I'm just going to pop these pieces here and I'm going to get on with the savoury. So the savoury is exactly the same. I think I could do with a little bit more butter in my pan. And I can, isn't it such a lovely noise? If your children were cooking, depending on the age, obviously you judge how much they can do, whether they can help you turn them over in the pan if you're holding the handle, or whether you need to do that. I do think it's really important to teach our children these skills early on and don't make them feel that it's something to be scared of. Some sort of top tips that I've worked out from cooking with children as I've gone along is to get your ingredients ready beforehand and to bring them in when you're ready for them. So don't try to scrabble about getting all your equipment ready and things ready and then you're trying to watch them as well. And do what you're comfortable with. So start with something really simple. Start with something really, really simple and build up. And things that they like to eat, obviously, are going to be things that they're much more enthusiastic about cooking. So I'm just going to turn these ones over in the pan and let them get a bit tasty the other side. So you can use any type of milk for this recipe. You can use, I used almond milk, you can use soy milk, you can use cashew milk, coconut milk, whatever you use, whatever you've got to hand. So this is nearly ready. So my topping for this French toast is I've got here some avocados, I've got some leaves, and I'm just going to go and get some bacon. Okay, so I've got these French toast here, the savoury ones, and I'm going to plate these up. So I'm just going to pop some onto this plate, and what I've got here is I've got some bacon. So I'm going to top it with some bacon, some avocado. I'm going to drizzle my bacon to go a bit American here with a little bit of maple syrup. And then at the edge of my plate, I'm going to pop a handful of greens. So as easy as that, We've got 2 types of French toast. We've got our sweet French toast with raspberries and live yogurt. We've got our savoury French toast with bacon, avocado and leaves. So I hope you enjoy this recipe.